God, take a look at this. Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Thursday's edition of the DCEU Daily. I think this is an official marketing picture from Warner Brothers for Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Should we just not do anything else today? Should we just hold this up and just have an orgasm about how amazing he looks? Now, I think this is the official picture. There might be another one. Listen, there's so much going on the internet. I can't keep hold of myself for everything. And you know, the Snyder Cut hype engine has begun. And I just want to give my gratitude to those members of the Snyderverse family who are doing giveaways, that giveaway account, trying to work out how many people are going to watch it. Let people, give people the opportunity who are not part of the fandom to watch it as well. I think Fiona's on top of that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. You have my gratitude. And sometimes, just sometimes, when we come together as a family, the Snyderverse fandom, it's a beautiful thing. So let's unite. And let me be absolutely clear, and I'm still holding this, I can't believe it. But let me be absolutely clear that Big Mouth and the DCEU Daily will be the place to rev up the Snyder Cut hype engine. And I also believe be prepared for the air cut to be announced. I don't know when. I think before Zack Snyder's Justice League is released, maybe on the same day they announce a release date, there's still a small possibility that we may see the air cut before Zack Snyder's Justice League, which would give it a really small window. I've always believed that David Ayer's already done his work to that movie. He's proven before on social media that he's actually got a copy of his film. So it's very interesting. And I want you to go and check out somebody else's channel. Not a friend. I don't get anything out of it. Have you heard of Heavy Spoilers? Great guy. Great YouTube channel. Well, he's done a comparison between the theatrical cut of Suicide Squad and what Ayer would have given us. So go and check out the video. It's on Heavy Spoilers. So as I say, this is the place to get hyped for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm going to talk a lot more about Zack and Justice League and something else at the end of the video. So stay tuned. If my morning throat kicks in and I'm like that, please excuse me. There is absolutely nothing I can do about it. It's so annoying. I actually start swearing at it when it happens. Anyway, away from the Snyder Cut for now and Zack Snyder and the Snyderverse, we've got a few articles from Screen Rant to read because there's some big things going on, as well as the Snyder Cut in the DC universe. And this is massive news if you're a true DC fan. DC's Titans Season 3 casts former Batgirl Barbara Gordon. Now, she's not actually going to be Batgirl anymore. She would have retired from that role, but she's still Barbara Gordon. I'm going to read this. I'm so excited about this. And then I'm going to tell you how this will kind of connect to what they're doing with the Batgirl movie, which will be exclusively on HBO Max. And that's not a bad thing because streaming is the future anyway. Anyway, DC's Titans Season 3 cast former Batgirl Barbara Gordon. HBO Max's Titans has officially cast Savannah Welsh. I love Savannah, by the way. As it's Barbara Gordon for Season 3 with the added caveat that she's no longer Batgirl. And I'll tell you why, and I think you already know why. HBO Max's Titans has officially cast Savannah Welsh as it's Barbara Gordon for Season 3. The Teen Titans series first premiered on DC Universe as one of the streamer's initial original efforts and quickly became a success. Despite some growing pains in the first two seasons, Titans cemented itself as a new take on the young DC team and amassed a sturdy fan base going into Season 3. Titans will make the jump to HBO Max as production was impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Fans have had to wait a bit longer for the next season to arrive. I like Titans. I like Titans a lot. I've seen the full first season, but I haven't seen the whole of Season 2. Not because I don't like it. I started it. I had to stop it because there's so many things going on in my life. I'm writing all the time. We're having Zoom meetings all the time. It's difficult, but I'm a big fan of Titans, and I think it's one of the better DC TV shows. And I think this is proof, really, that Arrowverse really is a thing of the past. But I do think we'll get Arrowverse movies over on HBO Max. I think that's the future. Anyway, that's quite the... what's it say? That's quite the shame, as Titans Season 3 is shaping up to feature some... Why is it a shame? What are you talking about? Oh, right, because we had to wait for it. That's quite the shame, as the Titans Season 3 is shaping up to feature some major developments in addition to Jason Todd's eagerly anticipated transition into Red Hood. I really need to finish Season 2, don't I? It was confirmed last year that the third season would feature the debuts of familiar Batman adjacent characters like Barbara Gordon and Scarecrow. Though filming has been underway for some time now, no castings have been announced up until this point. And I'll tell you something else. Titans does better DC females than Arrowverse does. Arrowverse's females are quite insulting the way they display them and how they conduct themselves. But I actually love every female in Titans because they're not just females. They're actually characters, individual people. And this is how you write human beings. Anyway. Now, Variety reports that Savannah Welsh will portray Titans Barbara Gordon. According to the official story, Barbara will be the Gotham City Police Commissioner. Wow! Having left her day as the hero Batgirl behind after she was paralysed by the Joker. She has a combative relationship with Bruce Wayne, and her life gets a lot more complicated when Dick Grayson, Brenton Waits, returns to Gotham and rekindles their romance. I'll tell you what, right? It's quite funny, actually, because Brendan's character seems to have a relationship with everyone. He's literally slept with everyone, isn't he? Jesus Christ. Anyway, Dick Grayson's been around, but the original Dick Grayson from the 1960s show, apparently I won't be disrespectful, he slept with 50,000 women. I tell you what, I'm surprised he had anything left. Anyway, her days as the hero Batgirl behind her after she was paralysed by the Joker. She has a combative relationship with Bruce Wayne, and her life gets a lot more complicated when Dick Grayson, Brenton Waits, returns to Gotham and rekindles their romance. Additionally, the two will start a new crime-fighting partnership. Well, that's interesting and exciting. Welsh previously appeared on the History Channel. That's right. She's brilliant on that, by the way. Series 6, and in films like Boyhood and The Tree of Life. You know, she's really good. Playing Barbara Gordon on Titans looks to be her biggest role yet, and it's quite an exciting one. Additionally, as an amputee, Welsh is a spokesperson for the disability community. Now, I like this. Now, I don't think a disabled person has to play a disabled person, but she seems to really be passionate about this. She's an amputee as well. So I think this is great commentary for the character because it will give her performance some informative glands as well. So I'm not happy that she's an amputee and anything bad's happened to her, but I think this adds to it as well. The disability community, which only makes her casting as the wheelchair-bound Barbara even more momentous. It'll be interesting to see how Titans incorporates her into Season 3 and whether that could lead to more appearances down the line. Based on the initial character description, it's clear Barbara has already been through the Killing Joke storyline from the comics. That's when Barbara comes paralysed at the hands of the Joker, thus ending her tenure as Batgirl. With that in mind, it looks like Titans could actually show the Oracle iteration of Barbara. That would be interesting, which would be very interesting storyline to explore. Her connection to Dick also sounds quite promising. Her backstory can be revealed through her interaction with him. With Welsh's casting now being revealed, Titans Season 3 continues to draw ever closer, and fans are likely even more excited than they were before. Very, very true. Good little article. So why is she not Batgirl anymore? Why have they taken this decision to do her after the Killing Joke? Well, there's many reasons for this because of what they've already set up. But listen, they're doing a Batgirl movie on HBO Max. It's going to be massive. It's going to be a blockbuster. There's no difference to it being made for theatres or being made for streaming. Same budget, same quality. I'm excited for it. It basically means we're going to have about 7 DC movies a year. How exciting. Maybe more. And so because they're doing Batgirl and they're going to look at her origin and I don't know what part of Batgirl's life they'll do in the film. I'm assuming we're going to start at the very beginning. So that's exciting for that character. Now, will Miss Welsh, because this is the multiverse, of course, play both iterations or will they cast somebody else for the Batgirl movie. That's very, very interesting, and I have absolutely no idea. But this is the multiverse, so you can have another Batgirl. It's obvious this is what they're doing, so she probably won't play the movie version. But we don't even know who's writing and directing the Batgirl movie. We know it's not Joss Whedon, obviously. He really desperately wanted to do that, and this is why he did what he did, and did Justice League, and it destroyed his career. And really it's a shame, because Joss Whedon was an icon in the industry, but obviously things have come out about him, and that's the end of that. But what's great about this industry is it doesn't matter how bad you are, how good you are, you'll always be forgiven. So anyway, I'm excited about the Batgirl movie. I'm excited about Titans. I think it's great. I hope they do the Oracle version of the character, because that will be somewhat exciting as well. So Titans Season 3 is really shaping up, and I need to complete Season 2. I may be even more excited about this news article than the one about Titans Season 3. Batman, the animated series reboot, is happening according to Kevin Smith. According to Kevin Smith, a source told him Warner Bros. Is looking to reboot Batman, the animated series, for their streaming service on HBO Max by Daniel Alvarez. A Batman, the animated series reboot could be in the works at Warner Bros. The original 1992 classic aired for 3 seasons, counting the new Batman Adventures, acclaimed for its writing, characterization, and directing. Batman, the animated series, is considered by many to be the definitive version of The Dark Knight. The series, along with Batman Beyond, was added to HBO Max earlier this month. Although I'd be excited for a sequel and another animated series, I think we could have a live-action Batman, the series. That would be kind of exciting. Maybe they'll do it down the line. But anyway, this is huge news. I believe Kevin Smith. He knows things. He knows people. He's cemented within DC and Warner Brothers and within the industry as a whole. Batman the Animated Series impact cannot be overstated. It was the first animated comic adaptation with an emphasis on strong dialogue and characterization. Thanks to the show, Mr. Freeze was given his well-known tragic origin in Heart of Ice. Wow, an episode that is. The show also debuted Harley Quinn as Joker's main squeeze. Meanwhile, the voice work on the show also helped propel it to legendary status. Kevin Conroy's portrayal of Bruce Wayne, Batman, remains the most iconic work on the character. For many, no one can match Mark Hamill's iconic Joker laugh and would be hard-pressed to try. Finally, Batman, the animated series, launched a successful DCEU, culminating in the widely beloved Justice League Unlimited. And guess who's behind all of this? Bruce Timm. Do you remember the other day when I said he should be DC Films president if Hamada goes? This is the reason. And don't give me that shit. But that's animation. That's different. It's harder to do animation. It's harder. And he's writing it and he's coming up with ideas, right? He created Harley Quinn. The man's a genius, right? Bruce Timm. This is proof. This is evidence that he should be DC Films president. I think it would be amazing. And I'm surprised they've missed the boat on it. And I hope if the position comes up again, which maybe it will, who knows, after Flashpoint, I think they should give Bruce Timm serious consideration. Anyway, during the new episode of the Fat Man Beyond podcast, Kevin Smith said he'd heard a Batman... Kevin Smith said he'd heard a Batman, the animated series revival is in the works. The discussion began with co-host Mark Bernardine, bringing up a rumour that HBO Max is looking to make a sequel to Batman, the animated series. Smith concurred, saying he's heard the same from very reliable people. Smith says his source on the BTAS reboot potential is the one who told him about Batman Soul of the Dragon a while back. Well, it's happening then, isn't it? By the way, HBO Max is preparing to go international. Many countries around the world will be having HBO Max sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, my country of Cyprus, again, isn't on the list. Disney Plus still isn't available in Cyprus, but I do have a way of watching it. My brain wires, look, I didn't actually say what I just said. Anyway, it's so outrageous, isn't it? Actually, before I carry on with this article, I will say this. Someone did a beautiful post saying, Basically, HBO Max, US only. The Snyder Cut official merch, US only. It is so frustrating. No offense to you American subscribers, but listen to me, right? It's like Americans think that America is the only country in the world. We do exist. We are fans as well, you know. Anyway, this doesn't serve as confirmation. Batman the Animated Series sequel reboot is happening, but Smith has been a reliable source in the past. It wouldn't be the first time Batman the Animated Series was revisited in the modern day. The style was utilised in the animated feature Batman and Harley Quinn in 2017. There was also the comic book continuation Batman the Adventure Continues. Batman the Animated Series could continue where the original series left off, serving more like a sequel than a reboot. That's what I think they're going to do. However, with so many iconic villains and guest star potential, a revival is more than welcome and allow the more iconic character to be reintroduced and recast. It would hopefully feature the same creative team as the original series. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill have voiced their respective characters after the original show's run. Hopefully they will reprise their roles. Of course, a revival of Batman the Animated Series is still a rumour, so fans will have to wait and see. It is happening, and it's really exciting. I can't underline to you enough how massive Batman the Animated Series is. It's not just a cartoon. It's more than that. It's so massive because creatively, if this was live action, this would have gone down better than anything you've seen. Better than anything Burton did. Anything better than Snyder's done. You know, anything that Nolan's done. Anything you've seen doesn't touch this. This was amazing because the writing and the minds behind it, Bruce Timm especially, was so on the money. So I'm happy this is happening. I believe this is happening. And this is fantastic news. And finally today we're going to talk Zack Snyder and everything Snyderverse in the DCEU. But first, here's an old interview he had with Kevin Smith I found on Twitter. We're going to have a conversation about this, so pay attention. There may be questions later.
Consequences.
Tell them, brother. This is important for all the people who are like, why?
Yeah,
this matters.
It's real consequences because we're used to seeing all these superhero movies and all this. And look, if even, and not to say, not to compare, but if you look at Avengers, they trash New York City, and no one even mentions the fact that there's thousands of people dying in there, And I feel like for me, it is about. That's why there's it's heavy at the end of the movie. There's sadness to the end of the movie. It's not just fun to crash around in the city. That there's a human price, and I think that's the thing that weighs on Superman. And I think it's important. It's not a thing that people are like,
they're like, it's danger porn. He just likes to see buildings fall. No, there's a reason. To me, when I watched it, I was like, well, it's an origin story, right? And this is threading the needle for what's to come, because people will say, Superman would never let those buildings fall. Yes, when he has all the experience of the world of being Superman, but this is his first time out, and these are the things he's learning.
Let's not forget, he's fighting basically his equal.
Now, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. Now, I've never heard that before. I didn't even know he's even met Kevin Smith before. But anyway, this is important because this really started the negativity, aimed towards Zack Snyder and his DC Snyderverse. So this is my take on it. The whole point that Zack's trying to say in Man of Steel, especially, is that Superman can't fight General Zod. Because he's putting these characters in the real world. That's what he's attempting to do. So in his real world DC universe, a superhero, unless you're the Flash, I suppose, you could fight, go, come back. Superman can't do that. If he's fighting Zod, he can't, in this universe, in Zack's universe, quickly hold a building up. Do you understand? Now, the people who hated Snyder because of Watchmen were always going to hate Man of Steel and BVS and the DC Extended Universe, because they have decided that this man doesn't know what he's doing, so they're just going to shit on anything that he does. So you hear it. If you put on a Fandom Menace video, we like Zack Snyder, but the DCEU is trash. That's all they call things. They never have, a proper analysis, constructive analysis. They just say, it's trash, it's trash. So that is the reasoning, what Zack's trying to say, that Superman can only fight General Zod. He can't hold a building up at the same time. Now, rewind to 1980s Superman 2, where Zod and the other two villains are fighting Superman. They're causing carnage in Metropolis, but at the same time, there's an incident when there's a woman with a pram, with a rock right near her, and she goes, "Superman, help us!" And it displays that Superman does fight these three villains from Krypton, but he also, he holds things up and saves people's lives at the same time, because they were really going for, the fantasy element of Superman. Now, Snyder's going through something else. Now, it isn't just as simple as to say, oh, well, this is the story that Snyder's trying to tell, because to comic book fans and diehards, this is a sacrilege thing, because then they'll say, well, the real Superman would never allow people to die. But this is not the Superman he's trying to tell. He's trying to say that this is Superman, this is what he would be like in the real world. And so it's amazing to me that we had a director, a pioneer like Snyder, driven out of the DCEU in his vision. We lost his vision for a time because people just didn't get that he was just trying to, this is the superhero universe, this is the DC universe he wanted to create. A kind of reality. Everything needs a reality. It's a bit like Jackson's Lord of the Rings, or Lucas's Star Wars. All the ships and the stuff look like they're worn and torn and been around for years, and you can see the nuts and bolts. This is the mentality, and this is the mentality of Snyder. If Superman is fighting Zod, he can't save people at the same time. It's tragic. It weighs heavily on Superman, and the consequences to Man of Steel are there to be seen in BVS. There's no getting away from it. He doesn't stand there with his hands on his hips. There's real consequences for Superman. The world is divided about Superman in Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. That's part of the element that makes it such a great film. A great, two films, because what happens in Man of Steel has consequences in the second movie. But it doesn't matter what you say to these people, to these haters. They will find something to say. Now, Zack mentioned Avengers. Now, I can't remember Avengers that well to know if people died, what fell down. I can't remember the details. It's important to remember he said this before Captain America Civil War, because they did a whole kind of narrative about the Avengers being dangerous and, the Avengers needing to be kept in line. So we know that. But here's the thing. Without Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, there is never a Captain America Civil War anyway. We know the truth. We know what happened. It's pretty much a rip-off of BVS, but in the MCU style. So we know that anyway. So people say, how can he say that when there's Civil War? Well, he said it before Civil War. But you know what? If I was a director, if I was Zack, I wouldn't have even mentioned Avengers. It's not even worth lowering yourself. This is what Zack wanted to do. He wanted to make a relatable world. He wanted to make a world where, buildings do fall and Superman can't save everyone. There's a tragedy in there. And as I say, and as Zack said, this weighs heavily on Superman. And I don't believe one of the greatest storytelling directors of all time should have been pushed out of a studio and his vision thrown to the floor because of that. Now, this is my next subject on Snyder. We don't know what Flashpoint's going to do. We don't know if the Snyderverse is going to be part of the multiverse strategy, because they could be using Flashpoint to delete the Snyderverse entirely. I would think, now this is the big thing for me. This is why I'm not getting on the hate train for Walter Hamada just yet, just because of what Ray Fisher's saying. I'm happy that Ray now understands that he must hype up the Snyder Cut. As he said, no one's going to do it for us. We need to do it. And he can continue with his mission with Hamada after the dust is settled on the Snyder Cut. I agree with that. But I think it's important to understand that my opinion of Hamada weighs on Flashpoint and what he does. If he was to take down the Snyderverse in Flashpoint, my opinion of him would change. I think this would be a horrible thing to do, because I think there's so many hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people around the world who love the Snyderverse. Why can't it be part of this DC multiverse strategy? Give Zack his corner like I thought they were always going to do. Now, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I think the reason they're doing the multiverse, one of the reasons is so they can have all different tones and different universes that do different things and attract different people, right? And so they can do inclusion and representation as well. So I hope that the Snyderverse remains intact, because I think after Zack Snyder's Justice League is released globally, this is going to be a massive hit. People talk about the Snyderverse. Well, it doesn't matter whether they hate it or love it. It's conversation on the internet, and it attracts people to spend money on watching it, right? As I explained the other day, lovers and haters are all going to watch this film. Some to say they love it and some to say they hate it. Doesn't matter. Warner Media is going to earn big bucks out of this. Why do you think they invested 70 million on Zack finishing the film? Do you think they're a fucking charity case or something? No, if they didn't believe in the project, it wouldn't even be happening, no matter how successful our events were. And, the Snyder Cut community, were pushing it and we did really well. But if they didn't think there was any money to be made, they wouldn't be doing it. And so we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what Flashpoint and the multiverse strategy means for the Snyderverse. I would be absolutely furious if it was taken down within a multiverse strategy, because a multiverse strategy means that the Snyderverse can be an Elseworld or something else. Zack wants to continue. Make no bones about it. Make no mistake about it. And I hope his universe does continue, but I'm a DC fan, so I want lots of different tones and different versions of these characters and the lower decks of the characters we've never seen in live action as well. And let's hope that happens. And finally today, that was supposed to be finally, but as I was talking about that, I thought of something else. And you know what? I'm going to make you a big confession. I made this confession before on this channel. I love Superman Returns because I think the commentary that was made in that film, nobody understands it. For years, we've been told that Superman is no longer relevant. And Superman Returns actually analyses that commentary and that school of thought. He's been gone for 5 years. He went to the remains of Krypton. By the way, if you haven't seen the Return to Krypton sequence, you really need to see it. Check it out on YouTube. It's beautiful. Should have been part of the film. But anyway, so that's the question Lois Lane's article in Superman Returns asks. What is it? I can't remember. Why the world doesn't need Superman, or whatever it is, right? It's the question that people in the real world were asking. Is Superman relevant? And Superman Returns actually does one thing. It not just proves to Lois and the other characters in the film that he is relevant, but it proves to us people in the real world that he's also relevant. That's the question that the film's asking. And that's one of the reasons I really like that film. And in fact, if you look at all the destruction Man of Steel, that is a reaction to Superman Returns. The complaint of Superman Returns was that it was boring, that it didn't have enough action. So when Warner Brothers wanted more action in it. They wanted that destruction in it because they thought that's what people wanted. So you can never win in the world of pop culture, basically. And when you're doing Superman, as the Superman and Lois production team are going to find out, this is not just another Arrowverse TV show. This is Superman, a pop culture icon, a pop culture phenomenon, right? We are watching. The whole world is watching. Don't take liberties with Superman. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.